While watching this film, I think I lost a bit of my sanity. This is a really weird film. Monster Hunt is a Chinese film, foreign language film. My version I saw was subtitled. I don't know if there's a dubbed version out there somewhere or if they plan on making a dubbed version, but yeah. Monster Hunt is a fantasy film. It is set in ancient China or some alternative of ancient China. In this world there are monsters and there are humans. They are separated and they really don't commingle. Some turmoil happens in the monster world and the queen of the monster realm has to evacuate. She's pregnant and on the run, and she's being protected by a few individual monsters while other monsters are trying to hunt her down and kill her. In the human realm, we also have a group of monster hunters that hunt and capture and kill monsters. And so she's being hunted down by her own monster kind as well as humankind. But anyway, she comes upon a human, and this is where things get a little bit more wacky. Anyway, our main character is a human and he is the mayor of this small community. He's painted as quite the loser, actually.
李大妈，莫大娘，大家都同村的嘛。
你闭嘴！
保长是有责任的嘛。
再说，
保长
衣服穿了没有？衣服穿了没有？
还没。
哎！
他是我们的保长，二位大娘这么做是不对的。
Anyway, the monster queen sees something in him, passes her baby on to him. Meanwhile, this female monster hunter sees that he has this monster kid, wants to work with him in order to bring him to the monster hunting community and sell it off. I know what you're thinking. That story sounds like, oh, that can't be that weird. This seems like typical fantasy. And for the most part it is. It has some of the same tropes and has a lot of the same elements in the plot. But I have to say there are some really unique things in this movie that are a bit strange. Sometimes they're entertaining, sometimes they just feel like you're losing your sanity while watching this movie. At least for me. There's certain moments in this film where I felt, Am I really watching what I'm watching? What the hell is this? So let's talk about the story. I like the story. The overall plot is good. Some of the things are really interesting to see. And even though it does travel some of the same grounds as other fantasy films, it does some things that are really nice. And yes, you can pretty much predict the outcome of the movie and all the things that are going to happen. Like, there's this one part at the beginning where I knew that monsters could take form of humans because I see it in the trailer. So during this one scene that shows this character, and it doesn't give any indication whether this person is a monster or not, but suddenly I'm like, you know what? I think that person could be a monster in disguise. And sure enough, at the very end of the film, that's what happens. I do like the whole underdog story of this loser becoming something great by the end of the film, and also seeing something different in the monsters. As well as him and the female monster hunter taking care of this monster as they're going on this adventure to eventually sell it off. I like the relationships that were bonded between the two, between the monster and them, and all this other stuff. It actually works well for the movie, and it is the heart of the film. And as long as the heart of the film works, this is a successful movie. Now, I do feel that this maybe is meant to be a family-friendly film, like a family adventure film, and I think to many degrees it tries to be like that and be over-the-top, cartoony, very zany and weird. And so it's trying to cater to the more younger demographic. Sometimes the cartoony zaniness is a little bit fun and entertaining, while other times it feels just so unrealistic that it's hard to picture anyone ever doing things like this. Or maybe that's just a thing with the overacting in some of these movies, because I've seen a lot of, well, not a lot of, but I've seen quite a few Asian films, like Japanese, Chinese, a few different genre pieces from those cultures, and many of them always have this overacted, just really excited and almost entertaining style to their acting. Like, it's almost like it's not taking anything seriously because it's a genre piece. I I don't know if there's a difference between dramas of those countries because I haven't really seen a real Japanese or Chinese drama, but the ones that I have seen are genre pieces and they do tend to overact and go cartoony. And Monster Hunt is no different. You would imagine the action scenes are too, and it is one of those action films where there's a lot of wire stunts, there's a lot of jumping, a lot of crazy stunt work. It almost feels like I'm watching Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but just not as graceful as that movie looks. I haven't seen that movie yet. And I don't know what to feel about the monsters because they are definitely out of place, they're definitely CGI, they're a little cartoony, and maybe it's because it's more of a family-friendly film, but they do look a little off and they just don't... There's just something about the monsters that I don't like the looks of them. Especially when you have to try to imagine that they fit in a human skin and are able to imitate humans. Like, how does this thing fit and make it look... How does this thing shape into a human? Now, I do have to admit that the baby monster was cute. He was adorable, and he grew on me. And you know what? I was actually sad during a moment where we were actually supposed to be sad. Like, that scene was legitimately really good. But it is kind of hard to say this is a family-friendly film because there are some moments in there that feel a little too... That's not for kids. Like, to pass on her infant to the main character, yeah, she makes him pregnant. And so you have a guy being pregnant for a good portion of the movie. Then I think there's a pretty violent death towards the end of the film. There's also moments of horror in the restaurant that cooks monsters because these monsters actually are people. They have their own language, their personality, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like killing people.
你就那么想不开？
歪腰不有一时，早使晚使都是要使，听话啊！
宁死不开。
小样儿，找死！
好，别接我的劲啊！
小妮，生药片，上菜。
There's the monsters that wear human skin. Like, they call it human skin in the movie. I don't know if it really is human skin. I don't know if they made it to look like human skin or if it actually is a human skin of a dead body or what happened. It doesn't really go into explanation, and so there's some horrific thing about it where they're wearing human skin. And some of these horrific moments are just brushed aside in the film and just like, oh yeah, we'll just mention this and just forget about it. Just it's not horrific, it's for kids. Now I have to say there are some scenes in this movie that are just a little unbearable to watch and made me feel like I was going insane because there are moments in the film where it's clearly for adults and children and it can be entertaining to both groups. But then suddenly you have entire long scenes that feel like it's just catered to the kids to a point where it's so wacky and so juvenile that it's just like, what am I watching? It feels like a totally different movie now. Now there are times where it actually is a manipulation where there is meaning to the goofiness and the craziness. Like for instance, there's this one scene where these two monsters are captured by a totally different monster hunter and they're in chains and the monster hunter's eating and yeah, I think I'm just going to show you this clip.
是彼此不断的吵骂，
皮相复杂，
灵交换。
所谓生活不过是一场谁要丰衣足食算了吧，混得可以就不差，今天千军万马一。
Like, look, they're breaking out into song. What the hell is this?
干爸爸，我舌头干爸爸，给生活踏，不断践踏。不成话，我年纪都已罢。
Like, seriously, they just suddenly start breaking out into song, and it just gets, like, so over the top and just really ridiculous. Now, there is a reason for it. It visually explains itself as it's a distraction to get the keys and then to take them out. But at the same time, he fell for this, and then it's just this, the whole song and dance number. And there are 3 songs in this movie. 3 freaking songs. The movie even ends with a song and dance number. It's like, what's going on? And then you also have scenes like this where there's this whole rigmarole and they're trying to, and there's a baby on the ceiling and just, what am I watching? I will admit that it eventually grew on me, but I felt like I was losing my sanity a little bit sometimes because it feels like a totally different movie at times. It just goes through these weird shifts where it's kind of serious to where it feels like adults and kids could enjoy it, but then there's times where they have whole scenes I feel like it's just meant to be funny for the kids and amusing to the kids. There's like an imbalance between entertainment for kids and adults in this film. Now overall, I did sort of enjoy this movie. It grew on me and I started laughing with it and at it at times, and there were times when it just felt a little unbearable. So I can't quite give this a 3-star rating, but some people might completely disagree and love this film, and I would not fault them for doing so. Because you are entitled to your own opinion, and this feels like a movie where you can have fun with, but I didn't have fun some of the times. I'm going to give Monster Hunt 2 stars. So have you seen Monster Hunt? What did you think about? Go ahead and comment. And if you like this video and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe and check out my playlist for reviews. I've got 2015 and I've started the 2016. As always, this is Bruce Gifford and this was Just My Opinion.